What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a great day as always. If you guys haven't already subscribed, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to be going over caster angle, and basically what that does is it's the handling of your Jeep essentially. The angle of your front steering. We'll go into all the details and all that stuff in this video. I'll go over all that for you guys, the different examples of caster and everything. So if you guys are wondering why you just lift your Jeep and it doesn't handle as well, this is probably the video for you. So let's go ahead and get into what caster angle is. All right, so the Jeep is drivable and everything. We do have to adjust the pinion angle. I am filming a video on that to show you guys how to adjust pinion angle and measure pinion angle on your Jeep and all that kind of stuff, because it's actually a really important topic when you're setting up your Jeep and angles and everything like that to get minimal vibration in your driveline. But besides that, I also had to adjust the caster angle. So I'm not sure if you guys can tell on video, but the front axle is actually tilted forward a little bit, and that's throwing the steering off. It handles terrible on the road. So I'll take you over to my Wrangler and show you the ideal setup for that. So on the Wrangler, you can see that it's basically perfectly upright, and this makes it handle a lot better for on-road use. And I mean, off-road, if you're going slow, it doesn't really matter, but this Jeep's gonna be driven on the road and off-road. So we got to get it set up like this. So I'm going to show you guys how to adjust your caster angle, how to measure it and all that stuff, and go over just the different kind of caster angles you can have and benefits to each. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it, and we'll adjust the caster angle. All right guys, so in this part of the video, I'm kind of just going to go over what different angles will give you as far as your caster angle and what it is and all the little details about it, so that way you guys know what we're dealing with and know how to adjust it. And it all makes more sense to you. So if you guys already know about that, I'll put the timestamp down here, and basically that timestamp will just skip forward to when we start working on the Jeep, so that way you guys can watch that if you already know about it. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the basics. So there's basically 3 different kinds of caster you'll have. It's negative, neutral, and positive caster. And we'll go over the basically cons to all of them except for 1 or 2 maybe. But, you know, we'll go over all those for you. So negative caster, which is actually what my Jeep has now, which how you saw the axle was tilted forward. So basically steering pointing down towards the ground more than anything. That's probably the worst kind of caster angle you can have. That's essentially what they use on shopping carts so that the wheels can spin freely up front and easily like that, which obviously you don't want your Jeep to drive like a shopping cart. So basically what that does is gives no feedback from the tires, and it's really unstable on the road. That's why the Jeep drives all over the place and just isn't really how you want a car to be set up. So that's definitely the worst kind of caster angle you can have. So now let's go over the other 2. All right, next up is neutral caster or zero caster. Basically what that is just straight up and down, steering's pointing directly forward, not down, not up, anything like that. That's what we're actually going for in the Jeep, and I'll go over why we're going with that instead of any of the other 2 on the Jeep when we start working on it. But that gives you really easy steering inputs, and it's good for a car that doesn't have a ton of power, because as you add power, obviously that's always changing, whether there's a bunch of torque or not going through the driveline. But that's what we're going for on our Jeep, is just straight up and down, easy steering inputs, great for highway use on basically a low power car. If you're building like a street car or something, obviously you're not going to want that. But for us, that's basically the perfect setup. That's what's on my Wrangler. Handles amazing for a Jeep 140, so we're going to do the same thing on the WJ. Now we're on to positive caster. Now what this does is angles it back a little bit, so your steering's angled up. And what that does is when you accelerate and it adds torque to everything, obviously that's going to straighten out a little bit. And that's going to give you the zero caster or neutral caster once you're under acceleration. It's good for cars with a little bit of power. If you're building like a street racing car or something like that, that'd probably be what you would want. However, we might not even be making 200 horsepower, so, you know, not really a huge deal. So we're going to be going with zero or neutral caster on the Jeep. So now that you guys kind of have an understanding of what your caster angle is, I'll show you guys how to measure it, and then I'll show you guys how to adjust it. So let's go ahead and head out to the Jeep, and I'll show you guys all that. All right, so now that we're out here with the Jeep, let's go over how you're going to measure this. So I have one of these digital angle finders. I'll link these down below so you guys can pick one up. I definitely recommend getting the digital one. It's not much more, but you're going to go ahead and place this on that flat surface we talked about on the front of the diff, and that'll show you what angle that's at. So ours is looking like it's rocked a little forward, which visually you can see. So you're going to want to go ahead and shorten that upper arm. The reason I'm shortening that is because I don't want to push the axle forward at all, because the drive shaft's still stock. So once we get other ones, we can push it forward. But for now, we're going to go ahead and rotate that axle back. All right, guys, so I went ahead and I shortened the upper control arm, which rocked the axle back some. That straightened it out, put the steering at the correct angle. So it handles much, much better now. And that actually made a huge difference. So this is an easy mod to do if you have adjustable control arms, whether that be the stock suspension geometry or like a 3-link kit like I'm running. You'll be able to adjust that and get your angles set correctly, and this is definitely a big thing for handling right. I get asked a lot why people's Jeeps don't handle well when they're lifted. This is the problem 75% of the time. Definitely worth checking out. We're still cutting the side fenders, got to clean up some stuff, cut a little bit more back here, get this all cleaned up. But tomorrow my plan is to take this to my buddies and flex test the new lift. And I already flexed it a little bit here, and let me tell you what, this thing flexes like crazy, so you're not going to want to miss that. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.